Alright, getting into game number 2, set number 2, Plat TVZ on Ruins of Ceres. We have spawning in the bottom left in green from LiT eSports. His team is up 1-0. This is Saskei. My sound's off. And top right, his opponent in orange. Our reserve player for Guns and Roaches. This is Grimley. Look how happy Saskei is. It's nice to see players who don't hate themselves when they play this game. It's always a positive, right, guys? I mean, seriously. So, another TVZ on a very large map in cross spawns. So this game could last a really, really long time. Which, let me tell you, at 11:30 p.m., this is exactly what I want to be dealing with. However, saying that, okay, I was getting ready to say, I haven't actually seen anything from Grimley yet. He is going to go ahead and throw down a hatch, his natural hatch here, and I'm looking like we're going to see a CC first out of Saskei as well. So, playing to the map, playing to the hope that you didn't spawn close positions to your opponent. This is going to work out for both players. I'm kind of curious if we'll see like a 3 hatch, but that's not going to happen. It's going to be a pool next here for our reserve player. So the next thing to be interested by will be gas timings, what players actually do with their gases here in the early game. We do see the gas from Saskei, but that's not really any bit of a surprise. I almost kind of would have expected to see another barracks maybe before going to that gas. Okay, there's the second barracks. So, I mean, going CC first is always frightening. There's so many things that could go wrong. He's not walling with that second barracks. Okay, he's going to actually throw down a depot, but I mean, you're going to have the CC finish before you need the depot, so you're going to have just a ton of supply. But I mean, the good news is he's not going to need another supply depot for a long time, so that's kind of cool. It's just the way to counter supply blocks, just be super unsupply blocked for a long time. That's totally how that works. Double gas from Grimley now here at 27, 28 supply or so. We actually get his speed up, and if he wants to go into Roaches rather quickly or a quick layer, he could do just about anything. Of course, neither player's actually scouted the other just yet. But you have one Reaper coming out and a reactor coming on this second barracks. So, I mean, Saskei could do something weird like just a bunch of Reapers, but no, he's going to go directly into a Marine rather than going into any more Reapers. But this does open up some really nice timings for Saskei. If he does just go, maybe we get Tech Lab on this barracks soon once he has the gas to do it. Get stem up really quickly, maybe throw down engineering barrier, get +1, and then just push with a bunch of really powerful Marines in the early game before your opponent really has a lot to do anything defensive-wise against you. Grimley is getting this pretty Roach warren though. Roaches, they don't fare poorly against Marines, that's for sure. This is a pretty large ramp if you did want to go for some early Roach Ravager play. It's still just something he decides. I mean, until we see a third hatchery, it's going to be kind of hard to tell if Grimley is going to be hyper aggressive or if he's actually going to sit back and do something else. We don't have a lair coming up right now for Grimley. He is getting a couple extra queens though, so this still could be something like a Nidus, but I mean, this is the only overlord that's anywhere close, so it'd be really difficult to actually get a Nidus into the main base where he probably wants to put one until he does get that layer up, and I assume just make this an Overseer, go from there. We do have 3 Roaches on the way, a couple more extractors going down as well. Yeah, I don't know. Just waiting on a decision here from Grimley. Meanwhile, we have Saskei finishing up his general infrastructure here. We'll be starting stem here in just a second as soon as he realizes that, hey, the Tech Lab finished. I can actually get stem now. There we go, stem started up. Had a pretty nice time here for a Terran player. He's got a starport on the way as well. He's got a factory down with a Tech Lab. If he wanted to make cyclones or tanks, either one wouldn't be a poor choice. Lair on the way now, as well as a Bailey nest here for Grimley. So he's got every bit of tech he possibly could have, but no third base. So this is, I don't know, it's like it's kind of almost all in, but without actually going all in, I suppose. It's totally a thing, right? There we go. There we go. There's the third hatchery. I guess it's only 5 minutes. I'm just so accustomed to seeing players go for super macro-based openers, getting these earlier extra hatcheries and such. But it is only 5 minutes in. He does have a really nice handful of roaches, so as soon as his lair finishes and he grabs speed, he could just run across the map and start putting on some pressure with those roaches. But he will be rather susceptible to drops. If Saskei does decide to actually start making some medevacs, he is going first into a Liberator and then a Reactor on the starport. So he's just playing nice and safe, but he's playing nice and safe without a third command center. So again, it's where you're kind of playing aggressive, but you're not actually being aggressive right now. Both players are going to have a really healthy army, but neither of them are really attacking with that army. At least not just yet. Stims will be finishing up here pretty shortly from Saskei, but are there any engineering base? No engineering base to speak of, so no upgrades on the way for him, and there's no upgrades on the way for our Zerg player either. He does have the Ling speed finished. He actually doesn't seem to have... No, he hasn't gotten Roach speed just yet. He is getting Baneling speed, however. So I don't know if he wants to do some sort of major push with Roach Ravager and Banes. At least that's what he's kind of setting up, but again, Saskei is just in such a powerful defensive position. It would be rather unwise to move across the map right now. I do appreciate Grimley creep spread over here. He is pushing that out pretty nicely here in the early stages of this game, and get himself a good amount of vision with that creep, as well as the extra mobility it provides. We do have a Hydrogen in those 2 Evo Chambers coming up here for our Zerg player, so he will be able to go into his upgrades. And still no engineering base here from Saskei, because upgrades are very lame. I think, who were we watching last week? The Terran player was on. It was a ZVT on this map. I can't remember who it was. I think it was a diamond matchup. Oh, it was Solace and DDL, and DDL just refused to get upgrades past mod 1. And it was kind of upsetting. But we do have quite a large move out here of a Terran army that isn't quite yet seen by Grimley. He's probably going to see it. He's going to see a little bit of it with this Overlord. He does see those tankovacs loaded up and ready to come for him. So he's probably going to be a little bit afraid of that, but these are just Stim Marines, so they even have combat shield. They don't even have combat shield right now. So a couple of corrosive bios go down and actually kill up a lot of his biophores here. This Liberator gets in a really nice spot. He's going to go to town on the Roaches here. Corrosive bios are focusing on the tanks, but they don't quite kill that off. But Grimley is going to go ahead and clean up this force on this side of the map at least. A couple more corrosive bios do go down, but that's just going to shoo away this Liberator. So really well defended there by Grimley. And without a third command center right now, okay, I think it's up. There it is. There's third command center started at least for Saskei, but without a third command center actually finished and landed. Grimley's got himself a pretty nice little lead right now, assuming he just continues pushing that lead forward. He does have a Lurker Den on the way, which can be kind of scary against, I don't know, like not scary for the Terran player, but kind of scary to use against the Terran player. It's probably, I don't know, probably the race that has the easiest time dealing with it, because they can just kind of bypass them by running over them, or not running over them, but lifting over them with the medevacs, if they do so choose, and just dropping where the lurkers aren't. Would also be kind of interested to see, you know, lurkers as drop defense, but that's really expensive drop defense when you can just use, as we see from Grimley, a spore crawler and a couple of spines. He's got a couple on his main base at least to help fend off any drops, since he is playing without a spire right now, so he's not going to be able to fend off drops if that were actually going to be a thing from Saskei, but yeah, we don't see that just yet. Third command center ready to land here for our Terran player. Holy crap, that is a lot of starports. What are you doing with these starports? He's making a ton of Liberators right now. He's got another command center on the way as well. Ling's looking for, I guess, a fourth command center, or maybe just trying to set up some sort of run by for a little bit later on in the game, but Saskei's going to be making a ton of Liberators. He doesn't really have the money to do it right now. These Lings are actually going to run directly into the tanks. Actually, does force out a rather large stem, so that's nice for him. Saskei kind of realizing that he might be kind of susceptible to just a shit ton of banelings walking in, so he's going to actually pre-split his Marines, pre-split that Bioforce, make sure he's not going to just lose to not paying attention to his army for 5 seconds, which is always a little bit frustrating and always a bit of a threat when you're playing against a Zerg player. Where is this CC headed? Are you headed over here? Yeah. So it took Saskei quite a long time to get his 3rd command center up, but he did get his 4th up very, very quickly. So he's going to move this over and presumably turn that into a planetary fortress as well. So that's going to be a nice defended position once he starts moving over these SCVs from his main. We do have that fusion core coming up now, so I guess we're going to see just a ton of Liberators and Vikings, and that's I don't know, that's quite the army composition, I guess. I guess that's a thing. I gotta say, both these players are playing very, very well right now. I mean, looking at the money right now, we're 11 minutes in, and both the players are under 500 minerals and 500 gas each, which is usually something you don't see in a lot of levels up through. Like, Masters players are terrible at macro, but these players are showing off some really nice skills here. So it's nice to see that happening, but this is a really, really big force moving over, and none of these Liberators... Oh god, he's on move commands. Oh, sweet Jesus, he was on move commands. That's gotta be upsetting. Yeah, the Lurkers and the Banelings are rolling in there, so that's nice, but... Oh my god, the Banelings just destroyed... What just happened here? And the Lurkers only have 4 kills total. Holy... That engagement could not have started worse for Grimley. He was on move command. He lost probably a quarter to a third of his army just from that. And now the reinforcements for Saskei are going to be able to take care of the rest of this army that's over here. He's actually kind of chasing this army across the map with Liberators. There are a bunch of Lurkers over on this right side. I kind of hope that his reposition into the middle here. Okay, he's gonna walk them back home and actually be defensive with them. It would be kind of cool to see them reposition. Does he see him? No, Saskei doesn't quite see him. It would have been kind of cool to see him reposition a couple of them in the middle of in the middle here. He's gonna surprise some of the reinforcements that Terrans do like to just send across the map. But wow, that engagement was just bizarre. It started so poorly for Grimley. Then Saskei, I don't know how clumped he was, or if he just had a lot less Bioforce than I thought he did, but he lost pretty much everything. Now Liberators do have their range upgrade, but there's just not much here, and no actual splitting to speak of. Banelings do roll on in. I mean, Liberators trying to get set up here, but Grimley's army is just going to bypass him. A couple tanks over here, again, just on this move command. He's going to walk right into 2 Liberators. Oh, Grimley. Giving away a lot of army right now. Is this a planetary? Okay, this is a planetary, so this group of units is not really going to do anything. 3 Liberators going over into the 3rd base are going to set up shop. They're going to take out everything. All these generals are going to die. The Queen tries to reposition, but is going to go ahead and go down. This planetary is under fire, but it's getting repaired, so it's going to survive and be just fine. Liberators have killed off so many workers. 11 kills, 7 kills, and 9 kills on these. It's absolutely insane. There's even just Grimley with these really kind of strange rallies right now. He's rallying his entire force across the map, and he's doing it past a couple tanks that are just killing things as they walk past. And now, oh, wow. Saskei is doubling the supply of Grimley. This 4th base has no mining going on. The main is just about completely mined out. The natural, I gotta assume, is about mined out. There's actually a bunch of Liberators up here as well, taking out everything. So it turns out Mass Liberator, when your opponent doesn't even have a Spire, is a pretty good idea. Because, I mean, look at the income right now. There's barely anything for Grimley. Meanwhile, our Terran player, I mean, he did lose a lot of SCVs over here. He just needs to kind of restart mining, but he does have bases set up. He just needs to, he's got 14 SCVs sitting on this single mineral field. It's only got 300 minerals left on it, so he does need to transfer some workers over and hopefully take a 5th base soon, but he's got a rather sizable lead right now. 123 army supply to 51 in favor of our Terran player. Liberators are just such a brutal thing to deal with as a Zerg, especially when you don't have a Spire. Don't have a Spire, you're not going to be able to handle pretty much anything coming your way. I was kind of curious if Saskei was going to set up this double contain, but he's going to take a head-on engagement in a couple of locations at once. A nice split here on these bioforces, but there's no more Banes left over. 32 supply to 180, and Grimley will tap out, so LiT will go ahead and go up 2-0 here in this best of 7. Next match is going to be a TVP Diamond match coming up in just a little bit.